Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Melfield talking to some of the world's biggest stars and some of my favourite people, and we've got one for you today. The Stylistics are one of the most unique vocal groups in the world. They start a UK tour on October 26 in Gateshead via Redditch and Worthing, High Wycombe, Dunstable, Stockport. They're going completely across the UK through until January 25th. Cambridge, you can see them there at the Corn Exchange. And I am so delighted to say that one of the original members from Philadelphia, Airrion Love, joins us on the phone now live from the US. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
You do realise what impact you've had on people like me and others' lives?
It's not something I take for granted, but it's not something that, is constantly in the forefront of our mind until we see the people in the seats and stuff like that.
Is Bet You By Golly Wow the best song ever recorded as a pop record ever?
You know what? I think it is.
Me too.
I agree with you. It's one of my favorite songs. Yep.
When did it become your sound? Because when we look at all of these songs, People Make the World Go Round and I'm Stone in Love with You, Break Up to Make Up is just glorious. They've all got that stylistic sound. Obviously, the falsetto is the crowning glory on it, but it's a very unique sound. Did that happen by accident or was it quite deliberate?
Well, you know what? We get that question a lot of times. And the only thing I can say, when we first put the group together back in the late 60s, I know it was kind of like while I was in high school, and then it went on until our first record. It was a 5-member group, and we kind of like patterned ourselves after the Temptations. The Temptations were, one of our favorite groups. So we had the first tenor, like the Temptations had, which was Eddie Kendricks, and then we had the baritone or the bass, like the Temptations had, which was Melvin Franklin. So it was 5 of them and it was 5 of us, and we just sang. Before we had any recordings, we would work around Philadelphia on the local scene, just doing everybody's music, Temptations music, Gladys Knight and the Pips, and Motown was really popular at the time. And then when we were approached to go into the studio, we recorded, which I think is one of our rawest sounding songs, You're a Big Girl Now. And that was written by our road manager and our guitar player at the time. And that kind of started things off. And the gentleman who recorded us, Bill Perry, went to AFCO Embassy Records. And AFCO Embassy sent the record more on a national basis. And then from the success of that, they said, okay, well, we got to follow up with that with an album for that. And they contacted Tom Bell, and Tom Bell took us to the studio and just started recording us.
Incredible.
So definitely it was the expertise of Tom Bell. And at that time, any artist that recorded in Philadelphia or came through Philadelphia used the same musicians. So if you look back to Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff and Tom Bell, all of their material were used, they all used the same musicians. So that sound was constant for anybody coming through Philadelphia, and they were penned with the Philadelphia sound. I mean, people in England call them Detroit Spinners, but we just say the Spinners. When they came through, Tom Bell started producing them, and then they too used the same musicians, which intact created like the Philadelphia sound with them also.
Obviously, you mentioned Philly. You also mentioned there Detroit. How much competition was there between you and Motown? Was that palpable, or was it just you were all doing your own thing?
Well, Motown had an era, and then when theirs started to decline a little, Philadelphia started, coming up with their era. And then I started seeing like groups like the Jackson 5 come to Philadelphia to record. Like I said, the Spinners coming to Philadelphia to record. And it's like anything else, any market that was having a large increase in music sales from the certain producers from that particular city, people would come in and try to have those producers work with them. I mean, Tom Bell worked with Johnny Math. He worked with Dionne Warwick. So there were, quite a few artists that he worked for.
When we look back to, let's say, 1970, so that's some nearly 50 years ago. We can't believe that, but it's true. Is it like watching your grandson, or is it you? Do you feel now you've not grown up? Because it must be strange, because those moments are captured in time, and of course they're played on the radio every day and played on these video channels. It must be extraordinary for you to trawl through YouTube, seeing you back then.
Well, I had a lot of hair. That was. So what's between then and now, I'm bald, So, I started seeing my hair getting thin in certain places. I said, I'm not going to go through that, so I just keep my head shaved. Right. So that's definitely one of the difference. Me personally, I believe in that time, I may not be able to do the choreography as fast as we did in the 70s, but I'm still able to keep up. I still enjoy it, but now I'm 50 years smarter.
Right.
When I started at 18 years old, I was a kid being led. Do this, sing it that way, and now through all these years, I'll be 68 come October, and I've learned, do's and don'ts now, being in the industry for, like you said, almost 50 years.
It's an incredible legacy that you've left in your music, and I just love, if you would indulge me for a while, to talk about some of the people you've met. Are there a couple of moments where you've pinched yourself and go, okay, I have really made it now?
Actually, no.
Really?
No. I think we have accomplished a lot with our music through the years, but to a point of feeling like I absolutely made it, I still don't feel that. And today, I feel that I'm lucky to be able to still be performing in industry that I love, and we're able to put, people in the seats after 40 plus years at the group. But do I really look back on my accomplishments and say, wow, I made it? No, I don't. It's always, we can do better. We can do a better tour. We can make more money.
Yeah, because
and I think making it is also judged by the money that that we may bring in a particular day.
Do you know what I think it as well is surviving? If you're still relevant and you're still working, you've made it.
Okay, bye.
So many don't. Let's face it, Airrion.
Of course. Then if I've made it, then it's quite many artists out there that has made it more than me.
Let's talk about the places you've performed. I mean, are venues special to you? I know when you're on the road, sometimes it's just one set of footlights against the next, but there must be some venues, some countries, some places that you've enjoyed. Where do you love going the most?
Well, okay, now there's places that I love going. I haven't been in a while. And then there's other places that have stuck out in my mind through those 40 plus years of us performing at, and which is a difference. Places that I enjoy is from a personal experience. Yeah. Places that have really stood out in my mind for what they brought, to the group as far as the venue is concerned, is other places. First time we went to South Africa, and this was right after apartheid. We performed with a few other artists, but as a football stadium. And so we went in for sound check, and we did sound check, to an empty stadium, and basically stayed into the dressing room until we were called to go on stage. And when I walked out on stage, I looked at 40,000, 50,000 people all at one time. That, till today, blows my mind.
Incredible. Absolutely remarkable.
It just put me in a place, and then when we started singing, bet you by golly, wow, everybody kind of lit a cigarette lighter or a match, and you saw all these thousands and thousands of flames in the stadium. You know, that actually blew my mind. That blew my mind.
It makes me think of an interview I did last week with Alexander O'Neill, who was talking about America today and the world today. You talk about apartheid. How do you feel it is? I mean, there you are in America today. I don't think there's ever been a more uncomfortable time in terms of race relations, happiness, people fighting each other within families over politics. It's a strange world we're living in at the moment.
Yes, it is. It is. And unfortunately, and I can't say that it's the current office that has brought us to this point, or whether we were slowly getting there. But you know, I love England. I love traveling to England. I love the people in England, and I remember being asked years ago, you know, did you ever feel that there was any prejudice or anything in the UK? And I've always said I felt it more in the United States than I felt it in the UK.
Right.
You know, so maybe the United States was just a brewing pot that had just gotten to the point now where there's so much separatism. And I didn't feel it 4 years ago. I didn't feel it a year and a half ago. You know, but now you're starting to see it on TV. I mean, different stages of it. And it's like I said, well, it couldn't have been something that just appeared. It was just something that was there and kind of like maybe hidden.
It's a sad world we live in at the moment, but I tell you the one thing that is amazing, you can be in a room of 200 people, 2,000 or 20,000, and when they've got great music, that unity, that feeling of the collective is remarkable, isn't it?
Exactly.
Just beautiful.
And that's what I see, you know, and I look out on the audience, and I mean, people say, well, do you get tired of singing the same songs? And I say, no. I say, with each time we do it, it's different because I'm looking at the expression on people's faces. I'm seeing people crying. I'm seeing people laugh, you know, and not just one race of people. I'm seeing all different races, young, old. I mean, people who were saying, you know, you were my mom's and dad's favorite music, and I grew up listening to you, you know. So our music fans are getting younger and younger by generations.
Yeah. How's your voice, Airrion? I wonder when you wake up in the morning, do you gargle and wonder, is it still there? Do you panic about it? Do you get neurotic? Or is it just an old friend that's always going to be by your side?
Well, so far I've been lucky. I haven't had any major issues, any sort of operations or anything. And I would say it's definitely not. When I listened to some of the early recordings, I said, okay, wow, you know, even though I'm singing some of the same songs, I heard strength in my voice. So at 68, do I say I'm getting a weaker? Yeah, I'm getting a little bit weaker. I can't run that mile in 7 minutes, you know, anymore. But you know, I can finish the race. So when we leave the stage, from the conversations that we have with some of the people that we meet, they say, "Wow, you sound the same way as you did on the records. You know, you guys haven't changed. You guys look good. You know, the whole thing." So I'm feeling pretty good.
And when you stand on stage and the pin focus hits you and the beginning of You Make Me Feel Brand New starts, do you lose 40 years? It must take you back because it's the most glorious song to sing live.
Well, thank you. You know what? Each time I walk up to the mic, I'm nervous, even till today. Yeah.
It's so surprising you say that. I mean, you said that you still feel like you're trying to make it and you're nervous in front of the mic. You would think somebody who's done it as long as you, it would be a walk in the park, but maybe that's why you're still here, because you still care. You desperately care.
Well, I do. I do definitely care. It's important to me. It was important to us to do the best show that we can, you know, possibly do.
I love that.
You know, I don't know if it's just part of the business. They say, well, if you're not a little nervous when you go on stage, then you kind of lost the edge.
Right.
But while we've been on stage many times and said, God, my mouth was so dry. And you turn around drinking a bottle of water. And all that is nerves, you know.
Yeah.
You just, want to do the best that you can possibly do. Because it's funny. It's, you can do a long tour. And like we've been hoarse. I mean, we're not, immune to situations. And we did a tour one year. Our drummer got sick and he couldn't continue the tour, but we always managed to make it through and not disappoint.
What a beautiful work ethic that so many should think about today. I love it. I love the fact you're still here. I love the fact you're on tour beginning in Gateshead. The Stylistics Live, October 26th, via Worthing and High Wycombe and Blackburn and Guildford, November 16th. I'm going to see you in Nottingham on the 20th of November. Then via Norwich, Barnstaple, you've got Ipswich, London. You will be playing at the Indigo at the O2 on the 30th of November. Liverpool, Wrexham in December. January 2018, completing the tour on the 25th at Cambridge Corn Exchange. Airrion, thank you so much for your time. It's such a great thrill talking to you, and keep on keeping on because we love you and your music and your voice. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Enjoyed it.